Hello everyone, welcome to Nihira Techiees. In this video, I am going to explain data transfer between the components. So this is very important features in Angular application because in real-time application, we may have n number of components. So we definitely need to pass some values from one component into another component. So basically we have four ways using this we can transfer the data. The first one is transferring data between parent component to child component. For achieving this, we have the option input decorator and also we have the ViewChild option. This ViewChild is very interesting thing because we can pass the data at the same time we can get the response also. That means we can do the vice versa operation. So the second way is transferring data from child component to parent component. For that we have the decorator is called output decorator. Using this we can achieve, and the third one is using services also we can transfer the data between the components. The last one is state management. It's basically not a transferring data between the components. Once you added in the state management like session storage or else local storage, you can use the values in our any of the component. Okay. So first let me go to my application and I will explain everything in the detail. So if you see here, for explaining this functionality, I have created one child component and also we have the default created app component. So in the app component top of that, I have called the child component. If you see my output, you will get some better idea. Okay. So the screen basically is split into two parts. The right side is for child component. The left side is for parent component. So here I'm having the input field is name. So whatever value I'm typing, I'm trying to pass it from the parent component. In the child component, I try to bind in one of the element. Okay. Now let me go to the code. So as I mentioned, using this input decorator only, I'm going to achieve this functionality. First, let me go to the child component. Here I'm going to create one HTML element. So name is, so whatever values is coming here, I'm going to bind it here. For using this input decorator, first we need to declare it. So input we added here and we need to provide name and the data type is any. So the value we can bind in our child component. So now let me go to my parent component. Here only we are passing the data. So in the parent component, if you see, I have one input is called name and another one is mark. First we are going to use this name only. So I'm going to create one event first. So the event is click event and my function name is transfer data. Here my input is name dot value. So let me define the function also here. Okay, this is done. So input name and here this dot input name equal to, so whatever values coming in the name we can assign it. After that I need to pass to the our child component. So we called our child component here. So let me pass the same value. So in the child component we have declared the object in name data. So we have to use the same name here also. So now we have done. So and still it's showing some error. I think yeah, so I'm not saved this file. That's what we are getting this error. Okay, look like our errors are gets resolved. So I'm trying to give some name. Abdul Kalam. So if I'm trying to click, the values are get passed into the child components and it gets binded. Okay, now I'm trying to change the name session. See, the name is passed. So as of now we have transferred single data. The same way we can pass uh, multiple data also. Now I'm trying to pass the second data here. Instead of name data I can use mark. Okay, we can modify in our app component function also. So the second input is mark. So here I am going to define the variable also input mark. So this dot input mark equal to. So let me pass in the HTML side also. As of now we have passed only one value, that's what we are getting this error. So let me pass the mark value also. For this mark data we have declared field is the mark input mark. So we are getting this error because the mark data not handled in our child component. So let me declare it at input any, and also let me bind in the HTML also. Okay, see now there is no data. I am trying to pass the data once again. Session 100. See the name are passed and also the market passed. Now Dhoni 90. See, as of now. So as of now, I have explained how to pass the single data and also how to pass the multiple values. Now I am going to explain how to pass any object. So we have two values. I am going to create one object. So using this object, I am going to pass this data. First, let me go to my app component here, input object. So in the object, we have two fields. One is name and another field is mark. Okay, great. And here I am going to assign the values for this object. So in the function we have the actual value of name and also the mark. So now we have the object here. Now I'm going to pass to our child component. Object data equal to our current object. So now I am going to my child component. Here I am going to handle this new parameter. The new parameter data type is object. Okay, we have done. For the binding time, previously we have used the single values. Instead of that, I am going to use the object name mark. Okay, we have done. So Ramesh 25. See, the values are get passed. So the same output, but we have implemented using this object. So the same way we can use this array or list also. The same functionality we can achieve. As of now, I am how explained using this input concept. Now let me move on the view child. For explaining this view child concept, I am going to create one table uh, in our child component. Also, I am going to create one array here. So default, I am having one data. So we have created our array. So let me bind this array in our table. For that, I am going to use the for loop ng for let item of array. So first one is item dot name. So here we need to use the interpolation concept. So let me include one more column. Okay, mark. I think we are good. Okay, see the table. We have two fields. One is Ravi and another is mark. The mark 75. Now, what I'm going to do using this name and mark, I'm going to pass the values. So whatever values I'm passing, it gets added in the particular list. Okay. So now let me go to my app component. Here I am going to use this view child, and the name is ViewData. So you can give your own name, that's not a problem. And our data type is child component. Because in the parent component we are accessing this child component only. So let me provide here also we have done. So using this view child object, we can achieve all declared values and also any functions in our child components. So let me show. So view data dot see the list array and mark data and name data. So everything we can access from our parent component. So let me create one function here first. Update list. So this is my function name. So here the input is object. Okay. So whatever object is coming, I am trying to push in our list array. Okay, we have completed our function here. Now let me try to access this function in our parent component. Here I am going to pass the input object already we have. So this is look like a completed. Now we can test it. Here I'm giving Abdul and his mark is 100. So if I'm passing, see the new record is added in your listing. So the last record I'm added, it's showing in our H2 tag. The same way, Rashid 90. See the record is added and Sheikh 80. So whatever record we are passing, it's coming to our child component and we are binding in our table. So as I mentioned, using this ViewChild concept, we can do the vice versa operation. So once it's added, I have get some response. So first let me go to my child component. So here only I am passing the value. So once it's passed, I have to return some value. So return object.name is added. So this is my response. Also in the parent component, I am going to declare one variable called response. So I am going to get this response value here, and let me bind in our app component, then only we know the values got binded or not. For that I am going to use one span tag. Okay, we missed. So not required all the data. Let me include this response, that's enough. Okay, fine. As of now there is no build error. So our new record name is Ramesh and the mark value is 100. See, so I am passing the Ramesh, so it's added in our table. At the same time I got the response. See here, the Ramesh is added. So we need one space. So now let me try to add one more new record, Suresh. See, the Suresh is added. So as of now, the testing purposes, I am just returning the Suresh is added some hard-coded data. So in the real time, if you are posting, you may get the response whether it's saved or not. If it's a get method, if you are passing any key value, based on that, you will get some kind of responses. So in these scenarios, we can use this ViewChild concept. So now we have completed this input and ViewChild. So let me move on this output decorator. So basically this output decorator is used for transferring data from child component to parent component. First let me go to my child component, and here I am going to create one input box first. So ID I am providing is the name, and also I am going to have one button also. So I have created the button. Now see, so design wise I can include one break here. Okay, now it's fine. So I have created the field in our child component. So whatever values I am updated here, so I'm trying to pass in our parent component. I'm trying to update in our title. That is the expected output. So now let me move on our up component. Here I'm going to create one new function, update title. So the title has one input and input type is any. Basically it's a string format. So whatever values is coming, I'm trying to update in my declared title value. So we have completed our function here. So let me bind it. So this is the place only we have called our child component. Here I can include some event, data update event. So it's not any default event, so we have to create it little later. Here let me call my update title function. So as I mentioned, it has one input also. So it's done. Now let me move on our child component. Using this output decorator, we can define our function here. at output, and also here we are going to use the event emitter. So we need to include in our import side, otherwise if you typing time also it's defaultly get added. If you are using the latest version of Angular, it gets added defaultly. And we need to define if you have any input parameter. So our input parameter is string format. Okay, great. Now let me go to my child component HTML side. In the event part, I have to use the same component that emit, but it has one input. So whatever values we are entered in our name field, we just need to pass, that's it. Okay, it's done. So we can verify now. Angular app. See, so whatever values in the text box, when I'm clicked, the values get transferred in our parent components, and in order to we have changed in our title. So main component. See, the values are automatically gets updated. So now I am completed this output decorator. So now let me move on this services side. For implementing the services, first let me create one service, ng generate service, and our service name is master service. So look like our service is created. So let me copy this array first. So I'm added this array here. Here I'm going to create two functions. One is for get data. So this method basically will return the list of data. And another one is save data. This dot list array dot push. Basically it has one input. The input is object format. Let me push it here. So now let me go to my child component. If you see in the child component, we already have the table. Okay, this array also fine. And here I'm going to inject my service. And inside that, this dot list array equal to this dot service dot get data. Okay, we have done. I'm make it is the empty value. So let me run the application now. See, still we have the Ravi and 75. So basically these two values are coming from the services. So as I mentioned, we can implement the data transfer functionality. So we have completed in your child component. Now let me move on my parent component. So if you see in the parent component, we have already a function transfer data. So let me remove these two things. And as of now, we don't have any constructor. Let me create our own first. And here also, I am going to inject the same service. Okay, we have done. So hereafter I am not going to pass the datas into any ViewChild or input parameter. So let me remove the existing code. Here I am going to call the service pass method. So this dot service dot save data. Okay, as I mentioned, it is the object format input. So input object. So now we have done. Now I can add the data up to 200. See, the values are added here, and Ramesh 201, it's added, and Suresh 202. So see, so it's continuously updating in our listing. The functionality wise, if you see, first in our app component, we are getting the input values in this transfer data function. Using this data, I am creating one object. Now I am calling the service. So I am passing the object to our services. So when I calling the save data function, so the data automatically gets moved into our services. At the same time, in the listing component, I am in the constructor side, I'm just calling the get data. Basically it will return the data in array format. So we are binding in our table. That's all about the scenario. So now let me explain the state management. For this one, first let me go to my app component. In the app component, I am going to assign some values in our session storage. Here my ID is name and the name value is Nihira Techiees. Okay, I am assigned the value here and trying to access the same value in my child component. For that, in the child component, I am going to have one element. Welcome to channel name. So as of now, I'm not declared, so it may give some error. So let me declare it. Okay, look like our error got resolved. Now we can get the value here. This dot channel name equal to, instead of set item, I can use this get item. See, welcome to Nihira. So let me check for the null. Session storage dot, so get item of name. Okay, if you don't have any value, it should save the empty. So let me refresh it. It's saying Nihira, but actually we added Nihira Techiees. So let me verify once again. So I'm trying to change the key value. See, now the values are got changed. So basically I am assigning the value in our parent component. At the end, actually I am accessed in our child component. So this is all about the data transfer between the components in Angular application. Still, if you have any doubts or clarifications, please post in my comment box, and also please don't forget to subscribe my channel. So in our next video, we can see about the material in Angular application. Thank you. Thanks for watching.